Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to another episode of the Minecraft Survival Let's Play. So before I start this video, I just quickly want to mention that I'm going to be doing a Q&A soon. So I'm not sure if it's going to be in the next video or the one after that, or maybe it's going to be in like 5 or 6 videos time. But I'm going to be doing a Q&A. So if anyone's got any questions that you want me to answer, just let me know down in the comments. It could be like real life personal questions or questions about the Let's Play, or just whatever really, just let me know down in the comments. And if you put hashtag Q&A before the question, that way I'll know that you want me to answer it in the video instead of just answering it in the comment section. So I'll put that on the screen now so you know what I'm talking about. So just put that before your question, and then I'll read through all of them and I'll pick some to answer in the Q&A video. But anyway, getting on with today's episode. You might remember at the end of the last one, I was over here trading with the villagers, and I was converting a zombie villager right over here. You might be able to see him right there. So I just converted him into a zombie villager a few times and then converted him back. And that meant that I got the cheaper trades on all of these villagers. So most of these are giving me the books for 1 emerald, like the unbreaking here. It's the same with the silk touch for 1 emerald. And then the mending over here as well for 1 emerald. There's still some of them like the efficiency. I think this guy's like 39. Yeah, so there's still some of them I could get a little bit cheaper, but most of them are down to 1 emerald. And that was the same over here with all of the armour and tools as well. So if we go into this guy, it's got 1 emerald for the axe and 1 emerald for the pickaxe as well. So I was actually quite busy trading with all of these in between episodes. And I managed to get the shulker box full of pickaxes again like I got on the last world. So all of these have the exact same enchantments. So silk touch 1, unbreaking 3, efficiency 5 and mending 1. So I've got 27 of these overall, and in the other shulker box I've got all of the rest of the tools that I might need throughout the series. So I've got 9 more pickaxes, but this time they've all got fortune on. I've got 4 axes. I don't really bother with fortune or silk touch on my axes, I don't see the point. So I've just got these enchantments on them. I've got 5 bows here, and I prefer to use infinity over mending. I don't really see the point of having mending on a bow. And the enchantments are the same on the first 3, so unbreaking, infinity and power 5. And then on the last 2 here, I've got the same enchantments, but I put some flame on this just in case. Sometimes it's useful to light TNT and stuff like that, so I have flame on these 2. And then here I've got 9 shovels, which is going to be useful when I start digging out the island where I'm going to build the base. So the first 5 have silk touch, and then the last 4 have fortune. So that's just in case I need flint and steel or anything like that. So I've pretty much got all of the tools that I'm ever going to need throughout this series. And people always ask me why I've got so many tools if they've all got mending on them. And the reason is that I just can't be bothered going to the XP farm to mend them all the time. Like if I'm doing a big digging project, a diamond pickaxe like this can get to low durability, just like this one here, in about 10 to 15 minutes. And if I only had 1 pickaxe, that means I have to go to the XP farm every 10 to 15 minutes, and I just can't be bothered doing that. So that's why I've got so many backups. So if I'm doing a big digging project like digging out the base, I can just use all of these pickaxes. I don't have to go to the XP farm every 10 minutes, and this will last me like 5 or 6 hours of digging. So I just think it's a lot easier and better to have loads of spare pickaxes like this. So now I can get on with what I want to do in today's episode. And I spent a long time recording the last episode. I built a few farms off camera, like this iron farm. I also built the gold farm over in that direction somewhere. And then I started the mob farm, but that's going to be a long project. It's going to take quite a few episodes to get that finished. And I'm not really motivated to build anything for today's episode. I've only got like 2 or 3 days to record it. So I think what I'm going to do instead is go and gather a few materials or resources that are going to be quite important for the series. So there's 3 main things that I want to do in this episode. First of all, I want to go and get some beacons set up. So it's going to be very useful when I'm digging out the base over there. So I'm going to try to get at least 2 beacons. If I could get 3 or 4, that'd be even better. And I've actually got a sword. So I've got this sword here with smite 5, looting 3, unbreaking and mending. This is the one I'm going to go to use to get the wither skulls. And you can actually see here that I've already got 2. I just got them when I was messing around in the nether the other day getting some quartz and stuff like that. So I'm going to need a few more, but I've got 2 here. And again, because I started to record, it started to rain again. It actually does this about 3 or 4 times every episode. But anyway, the second thing that I'm going to do today is get some netherite for my armour and tools. I don't really need it because diamond is pretty good. But if I'm going to complete this series and collect a stack of every single item, I'm going to have to collect a lot of netherite during that time. So I might as well just get it started now and then get some for my main set of armour and tools. And the final thing that I want to do today is a little bit more end raiding. So I did some in the last episode, I think it was. And these are all the shulker boxes that I managed to get, plus this one out here as well. So that is the plan for today's episode. And to start off, I'm just going to go to the nether. I'm going to take this smite sword here. And I think I've got a few fire resistance potions as well, just in case. Hopefully I don't need these, but it's better just to have them. So I'm going to get all of this stuff together, and then I'm going to head to the nether fortress. It took me about 25 minutes to get 10 wither skulls there, so I've got 12 overall because I already had the 2. So I've got enough to kill 4 withers and get 4 beacons. And I've come out here to the end because I hate fighting the wither on Bedrock Edition. It's just too overpowered, so I always end up dying and losing all of my stuff. So I'm going to fight it underneath the portal instead. And I have made a tutorial for this before, so I'm not going to go into all of the detail on how to do it. But you start off by placing a soul sand there, 3 across here like this, and then the 3 skulls, and this should spawn it in, and it should get trapped in the portal there. And I'm just going to step back just to make sure it doesn't do any damage to me over here. So now it explodes, and I can just go in and kill it. It does do a little bit of damage, and I've got withered there, so I'm hoping that doesn't kill me. I don't think it will, but it might do, I'm not too sure. So there it is, it's going to die now and explode, and then the star should drop just down here. So that's the first nether star that I've got on this world. And if anyone else wants to kill the wither easily on Bedrock Edition and you don't know how, I will leave a link down in the description to the tutorial that I made to get the wither trapped under the portal like this. And it's quite an easy kill, even though it does still do a little bit of damage. And this is the last one that I've got to kill here. So this is for the 4th star. And I've actually got another skull there, so I've got 2 skulls back from this. And there we go, that's the 4th star right there. So I can go ahead and make 3 beacons, but one of these I'm going to keep for now. So this nether star here is the first one that I ever got on this world. So I'm going to put it in this shulker box here. So this is my first ever set of diamond armour and tools. The dragon egg, my first horse armours here. My first dragon head, my first ancient debris as well. So I'm going to put this in here. And I'm also going to put my first ever beacon in here at some point, but I think I might use it for a little bit first and then put it into here once I've got loads of other beacons to use. But I've still got 3 stars left over, so that means I can go and make 3 beacons. I don't really need them right now, but I'm going to need them over the next week or 2. So it's going to be quite useful just to have these. But anyway, I'm done in the end for now, so I can head back to the overworld. And I've actually spawned over at the village breeder, so I'm going to have to fly back over to the base. Next up in this video, I'm going to go mining for some netherite. So I've come to the nether here, and I've come all the way down to Y level 11. So what I'm going to do is just dig in this direction for about 500 blocks or something like that. And then I'm going to place TNT all the way back down to the ladders. Then I'm going to blow it up and then just collect any of the ancient debris that's laying around. And overall I need about 40 ancient debris, which is 10 pieces of netherite. And that's for all of my armour. I will get some for the chestplate as well, even though I don't really use it too often. I also need 5 for the tools down here. So 4 for these, and then 1 for my fortune pickaxe, which is in the ender chest. So that's 9 overall, and then I'm going to keep my first ever netherite ingot. And that's going to go into the museum that I'm going to build later on in this series. Also, I just thought I'd quickly mention that you might have noticed some of my tools have names now. So I've just been getting some name suggestions from people on TikTok. I've been making some videos and then the top comment has been deciding the names of my tools. So I've only got 3 of them named so far. A sewing needle for the sword, baguette pick for the pickaxe, and then Brymax, which I thought was quite clever, for the axe. I've not got a name for the shovel yet or any of the armour, but I will be doing that pretty soon. Probably by the end of this episode I will have everything named. And these are all of the tools that I'm going to turn into netherite, and I'm kind of hoping I can keep these for the entire series without losing them. So I just thought it'd be a nice idea to let my followers name the tools, and then I can see if I can keep them for the entire series. But anyway, I need to get on with this mining here. So first of all I need to go and collect a little bit of sand and get some TNT. And then I'm just going to dig down here by about 500 blocks and blow it all up. So I'll probably do this in a time lapse, and I'm just going to go collect the sand first. So I finally got that out of the way, and I don't know why, but I just find it so boring to go and collect netherite, and I managed to get 41 here, which is a little bit weird because that's the exact amount that I needed. So I'm just going to start smelting this up. I'll put it in this furnace here. It's going to take quite a while for it all to smelt. I could probably put it in multiple of these furnaces, but I can't really be bothered. So I'm just going to wait for the first one to cook, and I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to put this in here with all of my other trophies. So like I said earlier, I'm going to make a museum later on this world, and then I'm going to have all of these trophies on display. So this is my first ever netherite scrap, and I'm also going to collect the next 4 and turn this into an ingot. And I'm going to put this in there as well, and this is my first ever netherite ingot on this world. And I don't think I mentioned this, but this was the first ever ancient debris that I found on this world. So when I was doing a time lapse in the last episode, I was collecting all of these magma blocks, and I just found an ancient debris. I don't think I showed it on camera, and I don't know if I mentioned it, but yeah, that's how I got this one here. But anyway, I'm just going to wait for the rest of this to smelt, and then I can turn all of the armour and tools into netherite. So now all of this is smelted up, I can take it out and turn it all into netherite ingot. So there's 9 overall, and then I can convert all of the tools and armour into netherite. I think I do it in this thing here. So we'll start off with the helmet, and it keeps all of the enchantments, and I'm kind of hoping all of my tools keep the same names as well. So sewing needle here, and yeah, it keeps the same names as well, so that's pretty good. So I'm just going to quickly convert the rest of this stuff, and I've actually named my shovel since the last little clip that I recorded. So somebody commented, "Never gonna dig you up," and I thought that was quite a good idea, and it ended up being the top comment, so that's what I've named the shovel now. And finally we've got the fortune pickaxe. I don't really use this as much as the silk touch one, but it is still one of my main set of tools, so I'm going to turn this into netherite. I'm not going to use it too often, it will just go into my valuable shulker box in the ender chest, but it's still nice to have it netherite anyway. And that's the same with the chest plate as well. I never really use it, I always just use the elytra instead, but I'm still going to turn it into netherite just in case I do ever need it. And now I can get on with the final thing that I wanted to do in this episode. So I mentioned this earlier, I'm going to go to the end and do a little bit of end trading. I kind of need to do this, I'm running low on shulker boxes. I also want to have a few more spare elytras and stuff like that. And for some reason I've come through the nether portal and it spawned me at a different nether portal instead of the one that I usually spawn at. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. But luckily I wrote down the coordinates for my actual nether portal. So I'm just going to fly towards there and then I can head to the end. I found my first end city here, and it's got a ship, so I was quite lucky, and I got even luckier with the first chest. So I managed to get 8 diamonds in this chest overall. I don't really need these diamonds because I've got the villagers to trade for all of the diamonds, and I'm going to be doing a big mining session pretty soon. So I don't really need these, but I'm just going to collect them anyway. I need to collect a stack of each item, so they're going to be useful at some point. And the other chest is quite bad, just some iron gear and a saddle. I'm going to leave all of that, but I will collect the elytra of course. And I can't forget about the dragon head either. I'm going to have to collect 64 of these, and that's quite a grind. It took me a while on the last world. So every time I do some end trading, I'm never sure what to show on camera. So I think what I'm going to do is just do some tips and tricks. So I'm just going to show what I would do while I'm out here in the end and things that help me out. I'm not saying I'm a pro at this or anything, but I did spend a long time doing this in the last series. I collected over a stack of dragon heads in the last series, and that took like 2 weeks just out here grinding in the end for like 2 or 3 hours every day, and I feel like I learnt quite a lot during that time. By the end of it I could raid an entire end city in like 5 or 10 minutes, so I think I got quite good at it. So I'll just talk about some of the tips and tricks that I learnt while I was doing that, and hopefully it can help some of you lot out. And I'm not saying that this is the best possible way to do everything, I'm just saying that these are the things that I would do and things that help me out, so hopefully they can help you lot out as well. To start off with, I'll go through some of the items that I bring out here to the end. So first of all is rockets. I always just make sure to have a lot of spares. You don't really want to run out of them and then be trapped here in the end, so I think it's useful just to have a lot of spare rockets. And the next box is just stuff that I carry around all the time. So this stuff can be quite useful in any situation, but some of it's quite useful when you're out here in the end. So I always carry around a lot of spare totems just in case I use this one. I always carry it in my offhand, and then just in case I die, it saves my life, and then I can go and get another one, and this just saves me from losing all of my items. Next up is some wood, which is just always useful to have. You never know when you're going to have to craft something, so having some wood on you at all times is just useful. I always make sure to have some spare food on me while I'm out here in the end. You don't really want to run out of food, or you're going to have to eat chorus fruit. There's not really any other food you can get out here, so it's always nice just to have some spare food. And I also make sure to bring some spare ender pearls, and then some solid blocks. I usually use them just to go out and get the dragon head, and I fell off there. So I just come out by a few blocks like this, and then I can get the dragon head easy. And then I don't have to worry about it falling down into the void or whatever's below. So I just think this is pretty useful to have some solid blocks. So those are the most important things that are in my ender chest. But there's also the enchantments that I use, which are quite important as well. So I'll try to go through these as quickly as possible. So first of all, I like to have unbreaking and mending on everything, apart from the bow, which I have infinity on. And the reason for this is because you don't want any of your tools or armour to break while you're out here in the end. So if you've got mending and unbreaking on everything, you just repair all of your stuff by killing shulkers and endermen or whatever, so none of your stuff will break. Next up, I like to have protection on all of my armour, and this is for obvious reasons. Shulkers can do quite a lot of damage, but if you have protection, it saves you quite a lot, you don't take as much damage, and then you've got more chance of surviving. On the boots, I definitely recommend feather falling 4. So this saves my life all the time. If the shulkers shoot you up in the air and you start levitating, when you fall back down, sometimes you can take a lot of fall damage, and this feather falling just stops that. It reduces it a lot, and it just saved my life quite a lot as well. And there's just a few more things that I quickly want to mention before I move on. So first of all is I prefer to use my elytra instead of a chest plate. I don't really see why people use a chest plate in the end. Like, you're surrounded by void everywhere. If you manage to fall into here or get knocked off or something, then you're pretty screwed. If you've got an elytra, then you can just fly away and it's quite easy to survive. And it's the same with endermen. If you've got loads of endermen chasing you around, you can simply just run, jump and then start flying, and then you're safe. If you go like 50 blocks away, the endermen lose aggro, and then you can just come back and then start raiding again. So I definitely prefer to use elytra over a chest plate while I'm in the end. Next up is the sword, and I think these are the perfect enchantments for end raiding. If you put fire aspect on this, when you hit the shulkers with it, they're going to set on fire, and then they're going to start teleporting around and going a little bit crazy. So I just prefer not to have it. You can use it if you want, but I think it's more of an inconvenience than anything. And you can see the rest of the enchantments. Sharpness 5 so you can kill the shulkers a little bit faster, and looting 3 just so you can get a few more shulker shells. And finally, the enchantments on the bow. Unbreaking for obvious reasons. I use power 5 just so it kills a little bit faster. Infinity instead of mending. I just prefer this, so I only have to carry around 1 arrow. Some people do use mending and then carry like loads of arrows around. I just prefer infinity. And again, I don't use flame on the bow for the same reason that I don't use fire aspect on the sword. If you set a shulker on fire, it's going to start teleporting around everywhere and it's going to be harder to find. So I prefer just not to use flame or fire aspect. I also make sure to put all the valuable stuff in my ender chest, or put it in a shulker box and then into the ender chest. And that way, if I die out here in the end, I don't lose all of the stuff that I've got. So I'm quickly just going to finish raiding this city here. Then there's another city just over there that I'm going to go to next. And if I come up with any other tips and tricks that you might find useful, I'll quickly just start recording again and I'll let you know. I found one of the biggest cities I think I've ever found here. And it did have a ship. I've already got the elytra and the dragon head. And I just thought I'd give a few tips on how to raid these big rooms here. Or at least show you how I would raid these. You don't find these in every single end city, but quite a lot of them have them. So I'm going to go over to this one and I'll show you how I would do it. So most people start from the bottom and make their way up. But what I do is head through the top. And then I go straight over to get the loot first of all. So there's a diamond chest plate. And then another diamond chest plate as well. So I'll get both of these. So now I've got the height advantage, I can just peek over the edge and then shoot down at all of the shulkers. And I don't actually get hit too often when I'm up here, but now and again one of these shulker bullets will come up and hit me. But if that happens, I usually just back away and hide back here, and then I'm out of line of sight so none of the rest of them can hit me. And then I can just start peeking over the edge again and getting a few more easy kills. I think there's just 2 more left here, so I'll quickly get these 2. And with power 5 on the bow, it kills all of the shulkers in 2 hits. So it's not really a big deal to kill them all, even if there is quite a lot of them. It's quite easy only hitting them twice. And now they're all dead, I can make my way down. And I usually do this slowly just to make sure I don't miss any shulker shells. Most of them just fall down to the bottom, but sometimes they fall onto the ledges like this one. So I just make sure to get them all on the way down. And then down at the bottom I can collect all of the XP. And this will mend my armour, and it will also mend my tools as well. And now I can head down to the bottom and I can kill the ones at the front door. So these are quite easy if you stand back here, they don't really hit you, and then you can get these shulker shells as well. And I'm quickly going to show you what I mean with the enderman. So I'm going to get a lot of them angry here. So I've looked at quite a few, there's like 5 or 6 chasing me. Now if I was just going to fight these, they would do a lot of damage and I might end up dying. So what I would do in this situation is just jump off the edge, start flying away, go like 60-70 blocks away, then come back, and then all of those endermen should have despawned or lost aggro. So now they're not going to be attacking me anymore. So you can see that none of them are attacking me anymore. So that's one of the reasons that I prefer to use the elytra instead of using a chest plate when I'm out here in the end. And another quick tip while I'm in this end city, you see quite a lot of these rooms around where there's 3 layers. And if I land up here, you can see the ender chest and then the normal chest through the window. And I'm quickly going to show you how I raid these rooms. So I land up here on the same level as the chest. And then I break through this block and then you can get an easy kill on this shulker right here. And then I do the same on the other side. So I break through this block and then I can kill this one pretty easily as well. Then usually if you break into here, there's another one down at the front door. But then occasionally there'll be some like over there. This time there's one right above the chest, so that's quite an easy kill there as well. And there's also one down there, I'll get that in a second, but I'll loot the chest first. So a fortune pickaxe, I'll take the gold, and I'll also take the horse armour. And then while I'm here, I'm going to collect all of these ender chests. They're going to be quite useful later on, so I might as well just collect them here. So I've raided about 6 or 7 end cities today so far, and I was just about to come and raid this last one here and then go home, but there's another one right next to it as well and it's got a ship. So I'm going to raid these 2 last ones and then I'm going to start heading home. So I'll start by just coming down here and collecting the elytra. I think this is my 9th now, so I'm going to have 10 overall by the end of the episode. And I'll make sure to get the dragon head as well, because sometimes I just leave them and forget about them completely. I started recording here because I've got a few tips that might be useful for someone. When I first started end raiding, I kind of struggled with this. So when I was killing this shulker up here, or any shulker that's out in the open, if it hits you, you're just going to start floating up into the air. So if it actually hits me, I'm going to start floating up here. And this is fine for me because I've got feather falling, and I've also got the elytra, so I can just start flying when I fall back down. but if you don't have elytra and you don't have feather falling, this can be quite dangerous. So if I didn't have those things, what I would do is throw an ender pearl down here, and then I'm going to hit the floor, and then I can quite easily just kill this shulker just like that. So that tip might not be useful to everyone, but if you're quite new to end raiding or you've not done it too many times before, it could definitely be helpful in some situations, so I just thought I'd throw that in there. And one more thing that I forgot to mention earlier, usually when I come out to the end I will take some golden apples, but I just completely forgot to bring them this time. So instead I've been using these instant health potions, and I get these from down here in the actual ship. So there's a brewing stand, and I just take the brewing stand and take the potions as well. And this is just in case I get like low on health. If I fall off something and take a lot of damage, or I get shot a lot of times or whatever, I can just quickly take one of these, and then I get back up to basically full health. But like I said, I would usually have golden apples, but I just forgot to bring them, so I've been using these instead. But anyway, I'm just going to quickly raid these last two cities. So I'll do this one first, and then head over to that one. Hopefully it shouldn't take too long, and then I'm going to find a way home. I'm ready to go back to the overworld now, and there's two ways to do this. So the first way is to jump off the edge. And obviously not everyone can do this. If you're playing on hardcore or whatever, you can't do this. But some people keep the inventory on. You can definitely just jump off the edge. But if you don't keep inventory on like most people, what you can do is just put all of your items into your ender chest. So you can get a shulker box, put all of your items into here, like all of your valuable stuff, and you can actually break this with your hand. So I don't know if everyone knows this, because I didn't know this until recently, but if you break a shulker box with your hand, it takes quite a while, as you can see, but once it's broke I will get the item. Like the shulker box drops like this, so I could put this into the ender chest, and then I can put everything I own into the shulker boxes. So everything that I've got on me would be inside the ender chest. That includes all of this stuff, the crafting table, and my armour as well. And then I would just run and jump off the edge, and I would spawn back at my bed or at the spawn point. So this is definitely the easiest way to get back. But like I said, not everyone can do this. If you're on a hardcore world, you obviously can't do this. Maybe you've got a lot of levels and you don't want to lose them. So the other way to get back is to find one of these portals over here. And I wish I could give some tips on how to find these portals, but I don't really know myself. I just start flying around until I bump into one. I don't think there's any like specific way to find them. Just make sure you've got a lot of fireworks and just keep flying around the end, and eventually you'll bump into one. So this is the way I'm going to get home. I'm just going to pillar up a little bit and then throw my ender pearl through here. I've made it back home, so I'm going to go through all of the items that I've got here. So we'll start off with the first one, which is all of the elytra and also the shulker shells. At the start of the episode I only had one spare elytra, which was this one here, and now I've got 10 overall. So that means that I managed to raid 9 different cities today, and I think I got a little bit lucky because every city that I went to had a ship, so I managed to get an elytra from every single city, and I was only out in the end for about an hour and a half. So I think that's quite good to get 9 elytras in that time. I also got 9 more dragon heads, so I've got 10 overall now. Loads of ender chests there, and over 4 stacks of shulker shells. And that might seem like a lot, and it probably will last me a few weeks, but I'm definitely going to have to go back to the end at some point soon and get a lot more of these, because I just use them so often for storage that I end up running out of them pretty quickly. On to the next one, and you can see what's inside here. And most of this stuff just isn't useful to me at all right now. I've already got farms for pretty much all of this, and I don't think I'll ever be using horses, so I don't need the horse armour. But it's always nice to get the diamonds, and I am trying to collect a stack of each item. So I'm going to put these in with my other diamonds, and we'll see how many I've got overall. So that's 18 diamond blocks, 5 diamond ore, and then 1 extra diamond. And I will be doing a massive mining session pretty soon, so I'm going to be getting a lot of diamonds in that episode. I should be able to get a full stack of diamond blocks by then. But anyway, on to the last few chests. I've just got all of this loot here. I've not even been looking at the enchantments because it doesn't really matter. I showed all of my enchanted tools and stuff at the start, so I don't need any more stuff like this. But I just collected it anyway because it seems a waste just to leave it in the end. And finally I just collected some of the other blocks, like the banners, some of the chorus fruit and flowers, so I can make a farm out of this at some point. I've also got loads of the potions, and I collected all of the brewing stands as well. I'll probably need them at some point, and it just means that I don't have to craft them. That's all of the loot that I managed to get, and I'd say that was quite successful considering I was only in the end for like an hour and a half. And no shulker boxes are going to be very useful because all of my chests are just full of junk at the moment. I'm going to use those shulker boxes to sort some of the items out, just to be a little bit more organised. And I hope that some of the tips were useful to at least a few people that are watching. I know a lot of people out there will be good at end raiding and probably know more than I do, but I just wanted to show some tips and hopefully it helps a few people out. Even if it only helps 1 or 2 people out, then it was worth it. So hopefully it did help you out, and if it did, just let me know down in a comment. So make sure you remember to leave a comment down below for the Q&A that I'm going to be doing soon. I don't know if that's going to be in the next episode or like 4 or 5 episodes time, but I will be doing it pretty soon. But anyway, this is the end of the video, so I'll see you all next time.